You know, I had intended to do my first review on this channel in the new house. Well, in our salon room, but it's not completely done yet. And I had intended to do a video with my wife where we reviewed the new Doctor Strange, being Multiverse of Madness. I've watched it twice this week. I'm going to watch it again. Then I intend to watch it again. It turns out that if Sam Raimi makes a Marvel movie, I really like it, which I think people could have predicted anyways. But no, today, today I decided I was going to watch The Boys. Then I, I watched The Boys first, and then I watched the season finale of The Flash. The Boys, and I'm not going to have spoilers in here, I promise. I will not spoil anything on The Boys. The Boys is a fantastic show. It's amazing. Now, I'm wearing my Kevin Smith Reapers jersey, which I got from Geeky Jerseys. My Entertainment Guy jerseys are all from Geeky Jerseys. And I think that works. Kevin Smith, because he appeared on The Flash as a guest at one point. He and Jason Mewes, just a quick cameo. It was fun. So, The Boys, absolutely fantastic. The season finale is next week. I am so excited for the season finale of The Boys. I have no idea what's going to happen. And if anybody wants to go, well, in the comic books, I don't really. I have the graphic. I have a graphic novel. I think I know Yvonne got me this big book. I've gone through some of it. I need to go through the whole thing because honestly, they do a really good job of making it so that the bad guys aren't totally unrelatable. So they're bad guys, yes, but you can kind of understand where some of them are coming from. Not all, not Homelander, but others you can. You can kind of understand A Train at times. You can, God's sake, I'm actually finding myself feeling bad for the Deep. I am absolutely in shock. And again, I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm absolutely in shock that with this week's episode, I found myself saying, I kind of feel bad for the Deep here. I kind of feel bad for him. I'm turning off the air conditioner. Kind of feel bad, and on some level, I'm thinking, but this is really sick, right? So I shouldn't feel bad for him because he's kind of sick in the head. So I just, and then the whole Maeve thing. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I've really become a big fan of Maeve's character, and the Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy has been absolutely as perfect as I knew it would be. I was so excited when they announced that he was going to be playing him. The only thing missing in the show now is now that you've got Bobby, now that you've got Dean, they've got to get Jared Padalecki to come in. I understand that he's got his own show. He's got the Walker Ranger show, but have him come in. Have him do some kind of cameo, something. It would be great, right? Misha Collins. You can bring in Misha Collins for a cameo. And then, because Eric Kripke runs The Boys, he's the showrunner. So, absolutely having a supernatural reunion on the show, I think would be really funny. But this show is, I mean, it's not perfect. No show is completely perfect, other than some episodes of The Office. Or, I mean, if we're going back far enough, oh, yeah, that's a rabbit hole that I'll go down another time on shows that were pretty darn near perfect. And there, don't go back and watch old '80s shows though. I tried it with Knight Rider a few years ago, and it's very disappointing. Your childhood memory is much better than what the reality of the show was. This is fantastic. Then I watched the season finale of The Flash. Now, I don't worry about spoiling The Flash because I don't think anybody watches it anymore. I don't think they do. Uh, it was so goofy. So they've had all these storylines that don't really go anywhere, and so at the end of the year, it's like they just kind of smash them all together and mash them all. It's like when a kid makes a monster cookie where you have as many ingredients as possible and just smash it together. You bake it all up, and it might be gross. It might look disgusting, but a kid likes it. That's kind of the Flash right now. All this stuff that doesn't it didn't make sense at all. I was like, okay, so we've got four different things going on here at the same time. They're not coordinated with one another at all. None of it makes any sense. So Cecile gets powers from these girls because one of the forces leached onto her and gave her the ability to steal other people's powers. And then at the end of the show, she suddenly has telekinetic powers because why not? I was like, wait, She's telekinetic now? Cecile's telekinetic. Why is she Why? I really wanted that cup of coffee and it just flew into my hand. Well, I guess if we're not looking for logic, that's perfectly fine. And the Power Rangers. It turned into Power Rangers. So it's been bad enough that these forces, and I've talked about it in previous rants about the Flash, that they have this multicolored lightning. But when you have them fighting together and you have green and yellow and pink and blue, all I can think is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And then all three of them or all four of these beings turn into lightning, and I said out loud, "Oh my God, they're going to make Voltron." Sadly, they did not. They did not become Voltron. And of course, it ends up. Here's the biggest problem on the Flash. Here's the biggest problem on the Flash. And then I'm going to compare it to the boys. Okay. So this is the big contradiction between the shows. And you know what? While I'm at it, so how to do it right, how to do it wrong. So in the boys, you've got Homelander. Homelander he's a prick, but Homelander has like some weird personality quirks, and there's times where like he drinks cow's milk and they're playing Crimson and Clover. I was like, huh, that's an odd song choice for drinking milk straight out of a cow's teat, isn't it? So if you've never watched The Boys, you're probably going, wait, pardon? Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the least disturbing thing that happened in the episode. But you've got Homelander, who is a villain. And yet, you can kind of understand some of what he does. You can kind of understand that, like, having been a superhero his whole life, his biggest fear is losing that. His biggest fear is not being the biggest bully on the planet. And so, in season 3, he's not the biggest bully on the planet, or if he is, that gap has closed. And so, it's terrifying to him, the idea that maybe he's mortal. Maybe he can get hurt, and that there might be somebody who's able to take him out. So that's his fear. And we've seen him evolve over these 3 seasons. There's a lot of layers with each character in the show. And then with Butcher, who has been of one mind, killing Homelander. And he is still there. But again, there's been twists and turns along the way. And Butcher hasn't been a good hero. And what I mean by that is, he is perfect to play a hero because he's not perfect himself. Butcher has a lot of character flaws. And on this week's episode, and again, I'm not spoiling for anybody, but this week's episode, we got a lot of background on Butcher. We saw a lot of stuff that's been alluded to, that's been discussed as offhand, and it just really absolutely drilled that point home this week. And it was great. I came out, and yet at the end of the episode, the decision Butcher made at the end of the episode left me heartbroken, where I was like, okay, he screwed it up. And I don't mean he screwed it up in a way the Flash would, which is accidentally killing everybody. I mean that he has a choice between going in a path that would be maybe not one that kills Homelander, maybe not one that ends up getting revenge, but one that might protect others. And instead he says, basically it's saying, I will give my life and the life of someone else if it means we have a chance to finish Homelander off. And so going into the finale, I have no idea what's going to happen. Now, I knew damn well Iris wasn't dead last week. When they showed Iris die last week, I was like, she ain't dead. And so they didn't even have a mourning period, which is weird because they did with Frost. They didn't with Iris. And so they bring Thawne back again and again and again and again and again. Like, they put an Eobard Thawne character in who was apparently from a parallel universe. They didn't explain that. Whatever. They don't explain stuff anymore. So apparently he's from a parallel universe that was created through the Armageddon crap with the weird CGI at the start of the season. And so there was a good Thawne. And I thought, if they had, like, the good Thawne that hasn't been corrupted by the negative Speed Force, and you had him have this back and forth with the evil Thawne, this could be really interesting. You could have a lot of... Nah. They had, like, the evil Thawne underneath the skin of the good Thawne, so the good Thawne just is dead, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That character doesn't matter. The negative lightning and this other speedster that gets introduced a few episodes before the season's over, doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's just, and this is the problem I have with The Flash too. If you look at The Boys, which now, there's 8 episodes a season here, There's 20 plus in almost every season of The Flash. Though there's been a couple of seasons that were shortened a bit due to the pandemic. But that just made it worse because then they just stopped the season kind of in the middle and, well, there's a cliffhanger, I guess. And then the payoff the following season to that cliffhanger is not at all. It's not at all good. It's not at all interesting. And now there's rumor that Bloodwork is going to be the villain next year. That the comics, which are considered canon, this one comic book they have with the Flash that's considered canon, that Bloodworks can be the villain. And I read that and I was like, oh, not Bloodwork, seriously again. So this is the problem. You have Thawne, who has died so many times. He dies and he's just back. He dies and he's back. He dies and he's back. And so, much like with Iris, I never believe he's dead. So in this one, we believe he's dead. Oh, it's over for good this time. Yeah, that's what you said last time. And I couldn't even, I was like, wait a minute. So Thawne, So the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers weakened Thawne and didn't form Voltron, so sad. And then Thawne and Barry are having a fight, a lightning fight, because what other fight are you going to have? And the lightning fight was causing the city to die, because, okay. There were earthquakes that apparently were just restricted to the city and causing it to die, because, okay. And so they tell Barry, you got to stop fighting because you're going to kill everybody. And Barry's like, okay. And he sits down and he's just meditating with all the forces of nature inside of him. He did not make Voltron. He didn't even have a Voltron sword. I was disappointed. Although there were these weird tentacles that came out of Thawne. And all I could think was, are we going to go to Dragon Ball with this? Are they going to turn into animals? We're going to have like a Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball was great. I don't want to see it on Flash. I enjoyed Dragon Ball quite a bit, especially the season with Cell. That was the best anime ever, and I will stand on that. I really believe that the season with Cell for Dragon Ball Z was the best season I ever watched. That each episode was this epic fight, and you could feel this build that went on over that season, and Cell became tougher and tougher, and by the end of it, you're like, how in the world is Goku gonna defeat Cell? I never got that feeling with Thawne. Thawne's all overpowered, and he's wearing the black suit, and he's like, And in come the kids, because, sure, they just run back from 2049 whenever they feel like it. You know, the show used to make it so that, like, if you ran back in time, you might change things. There's catastrophic consequences. Now they're sort of like, They don't care. They don't care at all. There's no caring about the fact that every time these kids run back in time, they could cause catastrophic ripples through the fabric of space-time and destroy everybody. They don't care. So he's overpowered wearing the black suit, and I think it was the kid. I want to say Wally, but it's not Wally. It doesn't matter. It was Impulse, their kid. I think I'm mentally blocking it out now. Who said, where'd he get his suit from hell? And I'm thinking, it's a black suit. Didn't you guys see Zoom? He looked like Zoom. And I didn't understand the black suit myself. Like, if he's a Reverse Flash, fine. But he doesn't need a different suit because, oh, now he's overpowered. It just makes it feel like it's a video game. You've defeated Reverse Flash with the yellow suit. Now you get to defeat Reverse Flash with the black suit when he's imbued with the powers of Voltron. I just don't get it. So, Thawne is a flawed villain. In that, for the whole season, he was basically like Hannibal Lecter. He's in a cell, he's powerless, and Barry keeps going to him to ask for advice with things. And I keep thinking, Barry, you got to find somebody else you can ask for advice, like anybody but Thawne. Because you're telling him all this information about what's going on. You know he's going to get out of prison, so of course, he gets out of prison. And he ends up in this in the negative Speed Force zone, and it's dumb. They like make his eyes flash all different colors because he's becoming more. And again, I was waiting for Voltron. Didn't happen. Did this happen in the comics? Like, does Thawne come back every two issues of, like, if you're reading a Flash comic, are you like, oh, I can't wait to see the new villain? Oh, it's Thawne. This new villain, it's Thawne. Thawne. Do they use the same cells for each comic book, or do they at least draw the pictures with maybe different colors, color it different? That's what they did here. Thawne was in black, so ooh, he's serious now. He's in black. Ooh. And then Barry just decides he's not going to fight when Iris is no longer dead because she got out of the rock. She was in Iraq. No, I don't mean the country of Iraq. I mean Iraq that belonged to Damien Dark, which means we got, again, Damien Dark in the episode. I love Damien Dark. I love the character. I love the complexity. And every time he's in the show, it reminds me how much better the show could be. That's not what a guest star should do. I want a Damien Dark show. Now that I know that there's a Damien Dark that's living in this black rock that can see all these timelines and everything in the universe for eternity, cool, let's watch that. Let's just watch that. I will say this for the show too. They were teasing an Allegra Chester romance thing. Thank God that didn't happen. Honestly, I was just so frowning upon that, because it's not that I don't want Chester to be happy or Allegra to be happy, but why does every CW show have to put everybody in a relationship? Not every person on planet Earth has to be in a relationship with a coworker. It's usually a bad idea. So, Barry Allen, what has he done? He's run back in time and destroyed everything. Then he ran back in time and destroyed everything. He's run forward in time and destroyed everything. He has, time and time again, told somebody, come with me, I'll protect you, and they're dead within 20 minutes. 20 minutes of showtime, usually about 4 hours, so, you have time to have a meal, and then you're dead. And then 9 times out of 10, there's a villain watching him remotely that he's too stupid to realize there's a camera up there. Star Labs has horrible security, if they have security at all. And Barry is just, he's a bumbling moron. Like, for instance, when these negative speed forces are like, Barry Allen, you caused this, I said out loud, of course he did. It's what Barry Allen does. Barry Allen is meant to destroy everything. He is the most ineffectual, pointless superhero. There were episodes this year where Barry never used his speed. There were episodes this year, it's called The Flash. And The Flash wasn't being The Flash on it. So other people are going out and risking their lives, and Barry's just hanging out, having a coffee. I'm going to head down to Jitters. Allegra and Cecile are going down to fight with some bank robbers. Let me know how that turns out. I'm going to go over to Jitters. He's just imagine if Butcher was told, hey, so Homelander's going to be at this coffee shop, and there's somebody fighting him. Butcher'd be like grabbing his gun and, all right, sticking himself in the arm with drugs, and let's go. Which one would you rather have defending you? Now, I'm not saying that Butcher's a good friend. He'd be a terrible friend. You would get punched in the face regularly, probably have your head slammed into a door, but with Barry, you're dead. So I would rather have my head slammed into a door than be dead. This is why when there's a line in the episode about Butcher, everybody that he cares about ends up dead. Yeah, Barry gets him there faster than everybody else. The only reason that Iris isn't dead is because love, I guess. I still do not understand. So she's murdered, her body disappears because she goes into this rock because her job isn't done yet. You're not finished yet. Is this It's a Wonderful Life? Like, is Damien Dark like this angel trying to get his wings? Like, I couldn't even fathom. And then she comes out of this rock and she's wearing the same clothes she was before she went into it. Because of course she is. Because they even said, well, her body's gone, but her consciousness is in this rock. And I thought, she's going to come out naked then, right? That's going to be awkward because her dad's right there. And people that haven't seen her naked before, that's going to be awkward. No, she's wearing all the same clothes, even disheveled the way she was before she went in. You'd think she'd at least get a comb while she was in there. Well, not that she needs it. Everybody's hair is perfect in movies and TV. Always. But this is the biggest problem I have, is that I watched this first, because I shouldn't have. And I watched this second. And here, it's written really well. There's a lot of storylines going on with the boys. But you can see, they're all going to coalesce. They're all going to come together. And it's going to be a big finale, right? Big finale. They're starting shooting of season 4 in August. Carl Urban revealing that the other day. The Flash season 9 is being produced. Candice Patton, who plays Iris, just signed her contract a couple days ago, apparently. So how are they going to run this without Iris? Well, they already tried that this year. They had a couple episodes where Iris was just, she's upstairs, she's not feeling well. And then she just wasn't in the episode. So I don't think Candace had a baby, so that just makes it kind of weird. But I mean, maybe she did. I know Danielle Panabaker's had a baby, or she was having one during this season. So they were putting her behind houseplants a lot. It's old-fashioned shooting, right? Just show her from here up, as if we're not going to notice that, like, when a woman is pregnant, her face looks different and her hair everything looks different when a woman is pregnant. So you can tell. And there was even a point where she goes into this pod thing because they're going to bring back Frost. and you could see the baby bump, and I was like, I guess that was the best take, because I can see she's like at least 7 months pregnant there. So, and of course that storyline went nowhere. They show them flipping a switch because they're bringing Frost back to life, and then at the end, dude's like, "You're not Frost. Who are you?" And you can barely see anything, and then you hear Danielle Panabaker's voice saying, "A friend, I think," and you don't see her face, which tells me it probably wasn't actually Danielle Panabaker. That it was probably somebody else as a stand-in, and she was probably just providing that line before she left or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because like did they bring Frost back? No, they've probably created some kind of a hybrid. Maybe she'll be the Fly. Maybe there was a fly that got in there when they did the little thing, and maybe she'll turn into Jeff Goldblum. I don't, maybe if she turns into Jeff Goldblum, I will completely change my opinion on the Flash. If Jeff Goldblum magically was part of the cast, and especially if he was playing a female character, I take back any and all criticisms of the show, all of them. I just it's weird, and again, and I say this every time I watch The Flash because I've watched The Flash for every season, and I need to see how it ends. It looks like season 9's probably the end of it. The cast signed on, but it was tough to get them to sign on. Of course, Cisco's left. The dad is leaving too. He's supposed to be just a recurring character next year. I'd kind of expected him to get killed off, because since they had him retire as chief of police, he doesn't really do anything. There's nothing really going on. And then they made this big deal out of Flash bringing in prisoners, like bringing in guys for arrest without saying what they did. And then they never went back to it. He stopped arresting people from the looks of, like he's not even doing his rounds of the city. He's a lazy superhero. It's just awful. And then at the end of The Flash, when they're showing like the city being destroyed by this wave of energy because hate and anger before love fixed it, and everything goes backwards, so nobody actually died. I am tired of that. As soon as I saw like this big energy wave going, it's just killing everybody in the city, I'm like, all right, they're gonna make it so that it all reverses and nobody's actually dead. And I was even saying the lines before the show did, your mercy to me will be your undoing. Oh, you wouldn't kill me, I'm gonna kill you. I get the chance. Why do villains keep talking? Why? Like, that's one thing with Homelander. He talks a lot, but he also has moments where he just decides, I'm going to laser eye as many people as I can right now because I can, because I'm Homelander. And there's a scene this season where he pushes a woman off the top of a building. You don't even see it, but you feel it. I felt it. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, there's just a moment where you go, he's going to push her. He's going to push her. Nobody can, he's going to push her. Holy crow. Like, he snaps. And Flash, if Thawne snapped like that, pushed somebody off of a roof and they died when they hit the ground, guaranteed the Flash decides to reverse time so it never happened. Now, one distinction I need to point out is this show is R-rated, probably would be NC-17 if you tried to get that into a theater. A lot of the stuff in this show, there are a lot of naked people in this show. This show here is rated PG, and it is geared towards a more family-friendly audience. But it's just, a lot of it ends up coming across kind of as lazy writing. And again, they keep going back to Thawne. So I don't care who the villain is next year. It's going to turn into, so we got Bloodwork back, and then the first thing Bloodwork did was he put up some kind of a blood spell. He used it to recreate the blood of Eobard Thawne, and then like he created him in a lab, and then he put water on him, and it made him grow up and become Harrison Wells in his 40s or 50s, and now it's Tom Cavanaugh again. Because of course, they know where to stop when they grow them up as clones. Okay, stop now. I wouldn't be surprised. It always comes back to the same villain. In the event that the boys were to kill off Homelander, there are enough other threats on the show that it doesn't kneecap the show. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to have... Soldier Boy has the potential to be just as hated. Victoria has the potential to be just as hated. There are so many... The Deep, absolutely. A-Train, absolutely. Although A-Train has that redemption angle that could come as well. The Deep, I think redemption's gone for him. Although he's just weird. But again, that's the thing. You have this web of villains, and on The Flash, there's just, as it was called on, I think it was on Smallville, it was called Freak of the Week, is what they called it. And it was just these one-offs of just Freak of the Week. You know, it's an enhanced human, and then Clark would have to, after Clark decided, well, I don't want to fly because I'm scared of flying, even though the ground wouldn't have hurt him if he'd hit it. And I said it a bunch of times, and I stopped watching the show. But, you know, the Freak of the Week stuff, I mean, it was all right on Smallville, but that's what you get with The Flash. And then they have that Freak of the Week, and they're trying to have the overarching storyline, but it doesn't go anywhere. So we have this overarching storyline that 20 episodes into the season, we have that season finale, and then it's done. But you don't feel this sense of, I don't know, it was flat for me. I will watch season 9. I will do videos during season 9. I have very little faith, but because I watch it on Netflix, it only takes 42 minutes out of my day rather than the full hour because of commercials. So there's that. But I don't recommend watching both shows at the same day. I will say this. Another example I would use is this. The Boys is like a really intense UFC battle. The Flash is like Glow ladies wrestling, right? So there's a little bit of a difference in terms of its seriousness and in terms of people actually buying into it. And I say that because, again, the violence on The Boys looks real, and it's disturbing, and it's just really disconcerting. There are a lot of disconcerting violence. In The Flash, nothing happens. Nobody ever really gets hurt. You'll see somebody get flung across the room 15 feet in the air, and they smash into the wall, and they just get right back up. And I'm thinking, I might need a minute. If that was me, I'd need a minute. And I'm not talking about heroes. I'm not talking about like metas and human, I'm talking about just a regular human being who's just walking around, minding their own business, getting picked up and flung, and they get up. You're like, all right, so I guess everybody in this city's got to be a superhero, or else that villain flings like he doesn't really mean it. So, anyways, there you go. The Boys, I highly recommend, 110%. The Flash, not so much. And again, I will talk about Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Yvonne and I will be doing a review of that pretty darn soon. She enjoyed it as well. So this is a Marvel one, and we've been watching Miss Marvel as well. We both really enjoy Miss Marvel for being something completely different. I was marveled out, but the combination of Miss Marvel and the Doctor Strange show have brought me in and made me say, you know what, maybe this is okay. I couldn't get into Moon Knight. I tried, and this series may very well turn that around, being Miss Marvel and then Doctor Strange. So I'm optimistic. And Thor: Love and Thunder looks fun too, and Taika Waititi, anything he does is fantastic. But yeah, so there you go. The Boys versus The Flash. I will say too, people keep recommending for me to watch What We Do in Shadows. I watched the first half hour of the movie. Yvonne got tired, so we had to pause it and put it on the shelf. I really enjoyed the show. I think it's really funny. I think it's really witty. I think when you have a fight between vampires and werewolves, and it's like it's West Side Story, the way that they do it, absolutely fantastic. Chef's kiss. I thought it was really well done, and Taika Waititi is really a funny guy. I loved him in Jojo Rabbit, where he was Hitler, of all things. And yet, in that show, too, there's a development. The storyline changes. The characters change, and they become better. They don't turn into Power Rangers. But, if you've had a hankering for some Power Rangers, by all means, watch the most recent episode of The Flash, and tell me you don't see the Power Rangers, because I sure as heck did. All right. And I didn't like the Power Rangers. But in the lines, I kept saying, the lines sound like they're from a Power Rangers episode. So maybe I need to watch Power Rangers and figure out which episode they used for the Flash this week, because it just looked like it was based on some Power Ranger stuff. All right, I've done enough talking and venting for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I apologize that you haven't had more regular uploads. That will change now that it is the summer, it is the off season in hockey. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and asking, why would the hockey guy be talking about something that's not hockey? And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. For me and my Flash hat, which, I mean, yeah, I have a Flash hat because I used to really like the show. I did. The last season that I thought was really good was The Thinker, although the Thinker season, that was where Barry got everybody together, so it was really easy for the Thinker to just kill them all. Thanks, Barry Allen. Thanks for making sure that all of the people who needed to be saved got murdered. Because it's good. And then at the end of the season, they were all happy when they vanquished the Thinker. And it's like, yeah, but you still killed all those people, Barry. Do you not have a soul? Who am I kidding? Of course, Barry Allen doesn't have a soul. He's the villain. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.